Today I'm going to be doing a tier list of all the weapons in Solar Leveling Arise, as there's been a huge amount of changes with weapons getting buffs and also nerfs, and also with there being brand new weapons added to the game. So let's start off with the Hunter weapons tier list, and this is what my tier list used to look like before. However, I've also got to make some changes, as I do feel like with the recent buffs to a lot of characters, I feel like that then does make their weapons even better, just because the character themselves are also better, which mainly only does apply to exclusive weapons, but also does apply to some SR weapons. And the first weapon I want to bump up is going to be Woo Jincho's weapon, which is going to be on a different level, and this is going to go up into the A tier. As pretty much with all the brand new buffs to Woo Jincho's kit, as he literally got buffs to literally pretty much his whole kit, so it means he's a lot better now, which then means his weapon's going to be a bit better as well. So I think that's going to put it up into the A tier. And then I also want to bump up the Steel Axe as well, as I can't lie, when I've been covering guides for things like defense scaling characters like Woo Jinchul and also characters like Dongsu and whatever, the Steel Axe is actually not as bad as I thought, because those characters are skill spammers, so it means that they're going to get their core attacks quite often, which does mean this weapon can actually be pretty useful and is definitely nowhere near as useless as I thought it would be. So I'm also going to probably bump this up into the B tier. I think it's on a very similar level to the Steel Dagger, so I think this weapon's going to go into the B tier. And then for some of the other S tier weapons, I'm probably going to move down probably only two, which is going to be Intercept, which is Lim Tae Yu's weapon, and then also Equivalent Exchange, which is Choi Jong-in's weapon, as I just feel like because those characters aren't as good anymore, thanks to the release of other characters like Baek Yoon-ho and also now Alicia and stuff like that. I feel like their kind of role within, I guess, the meta, if you want to call it, isn't as prevalent, so yeah, I think those weapons aren't going to be as useful anymore, but they're obviously still very good weapons. And then I'll probably also bump down the Steel Bow as well, as, let's be real, this weapon isn't going to be anywhere near as good as these are, so yeah, I'll bump this down to the B tier. And then the rest I'm pretty happy with, I think. So then moving on, we have two brand new additions, with the first one being the Sword of Light, which is Char Hane's brand new exclusive weapon, which increases the user's basic skill damage by 5%, and then when you land a basic skill, you'll increase your crit damage by 2% for 12 seconds, which stacks up to 6 times. And then we also got Alicia Blanche's exclusive weapon, which is the Witch of the Snowstorm, which increases core attack damage by 10%, and then when you have the Ice Body Armor effect, you'll be able to increase your water damage dealt by 5% for 20 seconds. So then, as of where all of these weapons are going to rank, I think both of them are going to go straight up into the S tier, as both Alicia and especially Char are amazing top tier characters, so it makes their weapons also very, very good as well. So for me, that's just going to put them straight into the S tier, as of course also when you do get these weapons at max dupe, you can make them insanely better, because you can get up to a 20% regular basic skill damage increase, which is a massive increase. And then instead of the crit damage increase being 2%, you can actually quadruple it to be 8%, which means you can stack your crit damage even more. So this weapon at max dupes is going to be ridiculous. And the same goes for Alicia's, as you can get a 40% increase in core attack damage and a 20% increase in water damage dealt as well, which is going to be amazing. And if we do get Tusk in the future as well, who may or may not increase core attack damage, then who knows, maybe this weapon will be even better as well, but we'll have to wait and see for that. So yeah, overall with the Hunter weapon tier list, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe some of the R weapons might be probably worse than I'm giving them credit for, I'm not too sure, but either way, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think all of the Hunter exclusive weapons are going to be the best ones, so I think that's pretty obvious right there. But yeah, okay, cool, pretty cool. I like this tier list. But now onto the Jinwoo weapons tier list. So here we are, and this is my Sung Jinwoo weapons tier list, and you'll notice that there was a getting changes tier, and this was because pretty much before the grand launch of the actual game, a bunch of weapons were getting buffs and also nerfs, so I didn't actually rank them as I did this tier list before the game actually fully launched, so I didn't want to rank weapons that were just going to get changed, so I thought I'd wait until now to be able to properly rank them. So then, where exactly do all of these weapons lie within this tier list? And starting off with the Demon King's Longsword, which did receive some buffs, and unfortunately it's still not going to be one of the best weapons in the game. Unfortunately, it's alright, it's fine, it's a good weapon of course, but unfortunately, yeah, one weapon that did receive nerfs is actually still way better, and that is going to be the West Wind, which also got changes and actually got nerfed, but is 100% an S tier weapon. This weapon is so good, it's so good. I've used this weapon a ton, and it's honestly amazing, as this weapon has just a ton of damage increases through not only just its main passive, but its first dupe, as well as also its third dupe as well, and also has a bunch of cooldown resetting just through its fifth dupe as well, basically saying whenever you land a crit with Secret Bullet, being the weapon's skill, you'll be able to decrease your cooldown by 9 seconds, and you can proc this every 10 seconds as well, so you can get this off a lot, which means you can get a huge amount of damage just through this weapon alone. However, the only downside of this weapon is that because you're spamming your skill a lot, it does mean that you do have a lot of mana point consumption with it, but I don't really think that matters, to be honest. And then for I believe this is the Orcs broadsword. This also got some buffs and is still awful. And so yeah, straight into the D tier. Not really. This weapon isn't very good at all, in my opinion anyways. I don't really think it's good at all. As pretty much to be able to apply the buff Orcs Might, you need to be able to defeat an enemy. So although they have buffed a lot of the things to do with its dupes mainly, it still doesn't really matter because you've got to take out an enemy in order to have this buff, which means when you're facing off against single target bosses, it means you're never really going to be able to apply these kinds of buffs, which for me just makes it really bad. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I am or not. But either way, for me, in my opinion right now, I think it's a D tier weapon. I think it's pretty bad. And then for Nightkiller got some pretty decent buffs as well. And yeah, I think this weapon's actually pretty good now. I think it's definitely up there as one of the better fire weapons. It's sort of probably in the middle of the pack in terms of all the fire weapons. So I think this weapon is going to be a B tier weapon, to be honest. I think it's pretty good now. It had some really nice buffs with a bigger shield and stuff like that, which is really cool. That's pretty much its third dupe that the shielding got increased, I believe. So yeah, I think this weapon's actually pretty good now. And then finally, the Rock Golem's hammer also got some buffs as well. Every weapon got buffed except for Westwind, but Westwind, even with getting nerfs, is still insane. And the Rock Golem's hammer, whatever this thing is called, also got some buffs and is probably definitely better than these two. So I'm probably gonna put it in the C tier. Might put it in D tier, but I'll put it C tier for now. Nah, D tier. We'll go D tier. This weapon's pretty bad still. So then that means the tier list is going to look something like this. However, there's still a few more changes that I would like to make, and that is pretty much to do with some other weapons that also have received some buffs as well. And pretty much the main one being Vulcan's Rage, and the Demon's King's Longsword did also get some more buffs, but they're not really that big enough anyways. However, the Vulcan's Rage did get some really, really big buffs, as it pretty much got a damage buff to literally everything within its kit, being the basic attacks, core attacks, and also the skill damage, as well as the shield generation being bigger as well, which is amazing, and also just a lot of different things as well. So I can't lie, I've used this weapon kind of quite a bit, and I think it's probably the best fire weapon in the game now. So I think it might actually go into the S tier. Maybe I'm tripping, I don't know. And then I also want to buff some other weapons, with that being a Lustrous Dragon Sword. I want to put that up to the B tier because honestly, I feel like most light weapons are just really good. And with the crit buffs that this weapon does give to you, with I believe you get like 100% crit chance on your skill on the 5th dupe and stuff like that, I think this weapon is actually a lot better than I thought it originally was. So I think this weapon's going to go into the B tier. And then I'm probably going to bring down one more weapon, which is going to be Karsuka's Venom Fang. I'll put that down into the B tier as well, as yeah, I mean, I thought it was better than the Naga Guardian's Dragon Trident, or at least on the level of the Orb of Avarice, and then these two light weapons being the Family Longbow and the Spear. But after some second thoughts, nah, I think this weapon is probably not even close to these three, so I'd probably put it into the B tier. And then yeah, I think that's everything in terms of changes. I think if I were to maybe bump up some other weapons into the S tier, probably one of the 3 SR ones, but to be honest, I think they're fine where they are for now. So then that leaves us with the final weapon that came out recently, which is going to be the brand new SSR weapon, Skadi. So let's go over exactly what it does. And so the start of the passive says, when winter hunting is used, you'll activate Last Hunt and apply the Skadi's Blessing effect for 7 seconds, and then when winter hunting hits, you'll be able to apply Skadi's Curse to the target as well. And then Last Hunt will deal damage equal to 100% of the user's attacked targets with the Skadi's Curse effect, and then you'll be able to inflict freeze on them as well when the Last Hunt skill hits, which is amazing. And then it will then remove Skadi's Curse, and then Skadi's Blessing will just increase your attack by 3% as well as your defense penetration by 3% for 7 seconds. And then Skadi's Curse is just a debuff that you just have to proc all the other effects. And then finally, the freeze on this weapon is going to be just a 2-second freeze. So yeah, to be honest, this weapon is amazing, like pretty much every other SSR weapon apart from Demon King's Longsword. Obviously, it's still a very good weapon, but it's just not on the level of the others. So for me, straight away, this weapon is going to go straight into the S tier. Amazing weapon. Could maybe even be better than Thetis, and I think it actually might be. So yeah, that is going to be my current full Sung Jinwoo weapon tier list. I think it's pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not too sure about some of them, but I think overall I'm pretty happy with it. So there you have it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video or you found it useful, then don't forget to like and subscribe and click the link down below to support me as a creator for the game, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!